Hello, my squishies! It is Friday night. It is 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Felt Along. How are you all doing? So let's do this again. If you've just joined, we do these live. Sometimes we have technical issues at the beginning and leave them up for you guys to watch afterwards. So while we're waiting on people joining us, I'm going to give a quick introduction to needle felting and what's going on, and then Iris, and then we're going to get felting something special today. You might be able to tell from the title, or you might be able to tell. Oh, I'll just get the mic out of the way. You might be able to tell from the colours, but I would like you to guess in the comments, Kelsey, no cheating, what we are needle felting today. But so in your kit you have a foam mat. This protects your surfaces and makes needle felting easier, so always pop your foam mat down. We've then got our pre-felt. This is fabric that has come off it's wool that's come off the sheep. It's been washed, dyed and brushed. Nope, that's a complete lie. It's been washed and lightly felted into fabric that we use as the fabric to felt onto. We also have our needles. So in the kit you'll have multiple needles because these do break. If you do break one, make sure you find all the bits, dispose of them safely, and these are very sharp. So you'll have a sharp barbed on one end, do not stab yourself, and then a hook on the other. Also got a needle holder. So this has got a little peg in it. So you pop out the peg. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. Put the needle in the groove and then with the hook over the smaller end, pop it back into there. I'll do that one more time. So you pull out the little peg, pop the needle in the groove with the hook over the smaller end and pop it back in there. And this just makes it a bit easier to grab the needle. But you don't have to use it if you don't want to, and you can hold multiple needles together. I have a tool that does it for me, but if you're doing it out of the kits, I've lost my other needles. Where are they? Here they are. You can just hold multiple ones together like this and stab away. We've also got our roving here. So this is wool that has come off the sheep. It's been washed, dyed and brushed, and it's formed into rope, well, a loose ropey thing. And to work with this, you want to have your hands nice and far apart, and you're just gently pulling, and you'll be able to pull out little bits like this. If your hands are too close together, it's not going to pull, and if there's any twist in it, it's not going to pull either. So you want to have it untwisted, hands nice and far apart, and gently pull. We've got all different colours here. This is mostly Shetland. We've got a little bit of slivers possibly as well. That's a slightly different preparation, but don't worry about it. But tonight, are you ready for this? So a little bit of preamble. My life is a little bit chaotic just now for various reasons. So this week we're going to have a little bit of fun, and this is wait, hold on, Ruth, you bought an embellisher. Oh my god, yes, we will talk about this. We will talk about this. But no, I need to show you what we're doing tonight. So tonight, I was slightly panicking an hour ago, not knowing what I was doing, and Kelsey, who's in the comments, came in to bother me, and came up, bother in the best possible way, came up with the genius idea of tonight we are going to needle felt. Are you ready for this? A full Scottish breakfast. Yeah. So this, I've concocted this in the last 40 minutes, shall we say. So it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, and it's not quite finished. But this is what we're going to make tonight, and it's going to be tasty. And I'm going to chat about the deliciousness of a full Scottish breakfast and how it differentiates from an English sort of fry up or an Irish fry. Yeah. So shall we get felting? In your kit, you should also have, it should have like outlines on it. I've just not done it on this one. So let's get started. Let's start with the egg, nice and easy. Did you guess by the title or the colours, Ruth? So I'm going to grab some of the white for the egg, and I'm just going to, egg is nice and easy, make a nice smooshy circle, or roughly that size, give it a quick stab in, and now, so I like to, when I'm felting, get all the colours in first and then go back and pop details in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to very quickly get all the colour areas in, and then we're going to go back in and tidy up. Oh, and the other thing in the kit, which is, I should have mentioned, you've obviously got your frame. Yeah, the title I thought might be a little bit of a giveaway. With the frame, we're going to, because we want this to be definitely this size, I'm going to be constantly referring to this frame, but I will show you how to put it in later. So we started off with the whites of our egg. I know it's white on white, but it does make a difference. Should I change the title to something slightly more cryptic? I'm now going to pop in a base of this orangey colour. It's called, I'm trying to be very good and remember the names of all of these so that you can find them yourselves. But my mind just went blank there, but I've remembered it is Vixen. I'm going to make, now depending on how dark or how light you like your eggs, you have options here. So I'm going to go relatively dark, but I am going to add a little highlight of yellow. Because as we all know, free range, homemade, homegrown eggs are really nice, rich orange deliciousness. So the yellow is corn, and I'm just adding a little layer. Now, I haven't said this yet, but we're using tiny amounts and building up layers, so we're not going heavy on any of this, because we want to, the more layers, the more sort of texture, the more it looks like you've done loads of work. So I've left the outside slightly darker and only putting the yellow in the center, because I like a sunny side up. So sunny side up is when it's not flipped over and the yolk's all like nice and bosomy, rounded in the center. And I'm taking a little titchy tiny bit of white to make a highlight, because we like a glossy egg. I'm just going to pop a highlight there. Perfect. And then round the outside of the egg, we like a little bit, because this is all done, pretty much all done on either a griddle or a frying pan. Everything is fried. It's delicious, even the bread. So the edges of your egg is going to be nice and crispy. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to take the mouret and do a first layer just around the outside. And you can make this slightly uneven. In fact, you want to make this slightly uneven. And you're just surrounding. And again, you can't even see how tiny the amount I'm putting around it is. Because you can, well, you can, if you've put stuff in the wrong place, you can take it off. That's no problem. But I find it easier to add more later on than take away stuff. I've started with a little bit of crispy brown. I'm also going to put a little bit of crispy vixen, so that dark orange, just kind of between the egg and the edge. Not all the way around, but just a wee bit in places. And then I'm going to take the tusk, which is a creamy colour, and again I'm going around, so I'm covering up the white just a little bit with this tusk, which is just a slight off-white, so it kind of makes a little bit of a gradient and makes your egg look nice and textured. Now, I'm happy with that egg as it is just now. I fully intend on coming back to it and doing a little bit more, but I want to get everything done and then go back on top of it. So I'm going to try and practice what I preach tonight. And every time I've finished an item, I'm going to pull this up off the mat, because you'll see it's starting to felt through the back now. Ignore the picture on the back of this. It's starting to felt through. And if you do it too much, it gets stuck onto your mat. And once you pulled it off, you'll notice it might shift a little. That's okay. Just at this stage especially, wiggle it back into place. And you've got one egg. I don't know if that yolk might be a little bit small. I might make that yolk a little bit bigger. And maybe even rough up the edges slightly, so it's not so perfect. That's better, because nobody wants a perfect egg. Okay, egg down. Also, Ruth, how is your embellisher? Tell me all about it. Aren't they so much fun? Now we're going to do sausages. So your sausages can be vegetarian, vegan sausages if you like, or they can be pork sausages. Oh, venison sausage. That'd be nice for a fried breakfast. Yes. But anyway, a couple of sausages. And with the sausages, we're going to start with the brown. So this is chocolate. And you can put your sausages wherever you like on the plate. I'm going to have them cuddling my egg. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and fold over one end, so that gives you a nice round end, and then just lay it down, fold round the other end, so it's kind of hugging. Now, I was debating earlier as I was designing this what technically should be in a Scottish breakfast. I prefer link sausage. This is link sausage because if you imagine the traditional sausage that comes out the machine and it's all linked together, that's a linked sausage. But in Scotland we also have square sausage, which is really tasty, but I tend not to go for it. It's like about that size of square sausage meat, and it's got no casing on it, and it's just fried square. Not square, right, that size and flat. And a lot of people will have that in a breakfast, but I'm a rebel and I tend not to, so I didn't put it in. And now we're going to take some of the brown or black, depending on what colour you want to call it, and I'm going to, now we like our sausages well done, so I'm going to add a nice line of tasty burnt crispy bits. I'm going to take the mouret and add a highlight, because the sausages generally, when you're frying them, you always have like a dark bit that's touched the pan, and then light bit, and then dark bit, or at least the way I do it. So you'll always have the slightly lighter bit where it's not quite as toasty as the rest of it. I'm going to put a little bit of brown on the inside line as well, just to there we go. And now this is a little bit too sharp. Is it? Maybe not. I was going to say it's a little bit too sharp of a join, but I might leave it like that and see what happens. I'm also going to take a tiny bit of tusk, and I'm talking tiny bit. Oh, it is a tatty scone. I do love my fried bread, and traditionally, yeah, a Scottish fry up would have fried bread in it as well as a tatty scone, I think. But I've gone for just a tatty scone. That little bit of tusk just highlighting that first sausage. And now we're going to do the second sausage the same way we did the first. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, fold one edge round, and I'm going to stagger it down a little bit slightly. Yes, tatty scones, heaven. The most amazing, oh my god, you can do them so many ways, they're so good for so many different things. If you don't know what a tatty scone is, you are missing out on life. The tatty scone, it is triangular with a circle at one end, or half circle at one end, so they're a full circle and cut into fours. It's potato, flour, butter, salt, pepper, all kneaded together and then fried up. Normally you would fry it on a dry frying pan with some flour first of all, then you would reheat it the next day in loads of butter and bacony bits while you're doing your fry up. Oh, again, I'm taking the brown and doing an edge. And oh, tatty scones, they're very flat, and you can have them in your fry up, you can have them for supper with jam and butter. Gorgeous. Yes, now I'm really hungry. Oh no. What time is dinner? I haven't even got a dinner ready for me tonight. And then we're going to take the Mura again and do our highlight. Now your sausages don't have to be the same colour. They probably won't be. They're not going to be exactly the same. That's totally fine. And then a little bit of tusk for that highlight. Oh, that's a bit much tusk. So I'll take it back a little bit. Now, especially at this early stage, if something isn't where you want it to be, you can just pull it up gently and move it. Once you've felted more thoroughly in, that's going to be harder. But at this early stage, you've got that. So now we're going to put the bacon there. I'm getting really hungry. It's definitely good enough to eat. Oh my god, can I eat it now? Right, the bacon was a bit I was having the most trouble with. And everybody likes their bacon differently. So there's no right and no wrong way to do your bacon. So now I'm going to start with the dark colour. So I'm going to start with this, which I believe is chestnut. It is the darker of the reds. Or it's a browny reddy chestnutty colour. And I'm going to take my bacon and I'm going to wrap it around the sausage. Now, for those of you North American folks, your bacon is very different from my bacon. It's not streaky bacon that we have here. It is, what's the name? Wait, someone help me out. What's British bacon? It's like got a bacon bit and then a little bit and then fat down the edge. And it can be quite thick. You want to, well, you can have it however you like, but I like to fry it until the fatty bit is nice and crispy. Otherwise, I will sit there and pick off the fatty bit. It's kind of that shape, without the wonky bit there. That's my best impression of a bit of bacon there. And now, depending on how cooked you like your bacon, you can add more or less pink to your bacon. So I like mine reasonably well done. So I'm going to add just a little bit of pink, but I'm going to blend it in with the chestnut. So I'm going to take a little layer of the pink, a little layer of the chestnut, a little layer of the pink, the pink is nougat, a little layer of the chestnut. So I've made a little sandwich and I'm going to pull and flip to evenly distribute it. And I'm also going to scrunch it as I place it down. So like when I was placing the sausages down, it was very straight and in a line, but I want the bacon to be more irregular. That's a good word. Irregular shaped bacon. So I'm going to squish it like this a little, and then I'm not going to go right to the edges because they are going to be the toastiest bit. But I'm going to fill in the center, and now we are going to add a few layers of colour. Because as I say, I'm not entirely happy with the colour of the bacon, so I'm going to work on that probably near the end. I just want to get the colour in. Because we like our bacon nice and crispy, I'm going to take some of the slivers, which is the black wool that looks fluffier. It's less processed, and I'm going to add little, so there's like a little bit of fat that comes around there. Add nice crispy bits. Remember, you can layer as well. Do I want to add some chocolate? No. I think I want to add a little bit more chestnut. Oh, I don't know if you can hear the strange noises outside the shop, but I apologise if you can. There we go. That is my quick and dirty bacon. We're now going to do two really easy ones. These two mystery. If you're not Scottish or haven't been to Scotland, oh, hold on. You might not know what these are, and you definitely won't get this one outside of a Scottish breakfast. Probably not this one as well. So this is black pudding and haggis. They are delicious. I promise you, they're wonderful. If you're feeling squeamish, you can definitely get vegetarian or vegan haggis. It is all normally just as delicious. Can't generally get vegetarian black pudding because black pudding is made with blood. So it's very rich in iron, really good for you. You know, considering it's been fried and it's very good for you. You also get fruit pudding, which is delicious. So it's like the same thing as black pudding without the blood and with raisins. And you get white pudding as well, which is black pudding but without the blood. Again, delicious. Yum yum. Anyway, I'm getting really hungry. I should have eaten before this. I'm just going to take the black and make a circle. It's not that. I can't make it more exciting. It just looks like that because they come generally when it's like a breakfast preparation, because you get like dinner haggis and you oh my god, I'm so Scottish. We have dinner haggis and you'll have breakfast haggis. So breakfast haggis tends, not always, to come in a long sausage covered in a casing, and then you chop it up and fry it on your griddle. The same with black pudding, it comes in a long sausage, you in a casing, chop it up and you fry it off your little sections. So sometimes in restaurants you have to watch out that the casing is still around the outside, and although traditionally that would be a natural casing, I think now it's generally plastic. So sometimes you do have to remove that casing before you can eat your deliciousness. So that's black pudding done. We're going to do haggis. So haggis, we're going to be doing some blending. So I'm going to take a little layer of black, a little layer of mouret, a little layer of chocolate, and repeat. A little layer of black, a little layer of mouret, and a little layer of chocolate. And again, I've made a little sandwich, haggis sandwich. I'm blending it just a little bit, and then I'm going to scrumfle it. I want to give it a good scrumfle actually before I... Oh, that's a good point. That all fits in just... Oh, have I done these bigger than last time? No. Also, can you see my head? Yes, you can. I'm going to make the black pudding a little bit smaller and the haggis a little bit smaller to fit it in the hoop, because we do not want them spilling over the side. That's better. So I got my haggis on the go. And I think this haggis was freshly caught on the hill this morning. I'm going to add a little bit more mouret on top, just to lighten up a little bit and distinguish it from the black pudding. Now, I am leaving out fried tomatoes because fried tomatoes are the devil. I don't like them, so they're not going in my fried breakfast. If you want to put fried tomatoes in, you can. What else is missing? Okay, we're going to do our tatty scone. Now, it's going to fit in there. Let's double check. Yeah. So we want it to be there. Perfect. So with the tatty scone, I'm going for a base of this colour, which is butterscotch. And the tatty scone is so it's like a triangle, but one side is curved. So I'm going to curve this edge there and then triangle the other two sides. Does that make sense? Now, tatty scones already, I have already waxed lyrical about tatty scones because they are delicious. But the thing to notice with them that's going to make it look wonderful is, so when you tend to cut them before they go in the pan, so the edges will be slightly cut and slightly bowed and tend to not be as fried as the centre. So you tend to get more cooking marks in the middle bit and the edges are a little bit lighter. So I'm going to do that with some of the butterscotch and the tusk together. And just squiggle a little round the edge, trying not to be too neat. And make the edge a little bit lighter than the centre. And then we're going to add some nice burnt crispy bits in the centre. So you can have healthier tatty scones by not frying them in oil. You can fry them, so you can put a little bit of flour on either side and fry it that way, like dry fry it. Or you can fry it in butter or fat or whatever. And it's just personal preference. So I'm going to take a little bit of chocolate and make some cooked little blobby sections. Oh, and I should probably preface, this is all very regional, and different people have different traditions, and there is no right and no wrong. As long as it is tasty and you enjoy it, that is all that matters. I'm going to put a tiny, tiny touch. Where are my slivers? There we are. Tiny touch of slivers to just have some. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit on top of them as well. And fried bread and tatty scone look relatively similar. So if you want to call this fried bread, you can. But that looks pretty tatty scone-y to me. And the last thing we're going to work on, how are we for time? Oh, we've plenty of time. Last thing we're going to work on is the beans. So I've made a little bean well in the centre. Now these are baked beans, traditionally Heinz baked beans. Where are my colours? What colours? There we go. So I have poppy, and I'm going to fill in this little centre cave with poppy. This is the bright red. Now I judge beans by the thickness of the sauce. If it's too thin and runny, nope. You want a nice thick bean sauce. Now I'm going to take the chestnut, this dark brown, and I'm going to go around the edges. Really roughly. You can go over the middle as well. Don't worry too much. We like a nice dark rich sauce. I feel like I'm doing a cooking program. This feels slightly weird. You come here for the needle felting. You stay the Scottish cooking demonstration. And now, to make the individual beans, we're taking the Vixen again, and we are going to take tiny little bits and smoosh them, I tell you, into little bean shapes. So, I don't know if you can see that there. Can you see that? Tiny bean. And you're just going to add in a small selection of tiny beans. And then we've got one more thing to get in before I'm going to start going back in and putting in a little bit more detail and fiddling a little bit. But overall, I think we're pretty much there. Now this is the question, how many beans do I put in? Do I make it... As I said, I don't like a runny bean sauce. Not a good amount. But then there's lots of beans like under the sauce. And do I want to put some beans like on top of the bit of bacon? Is that wrong? Do you have to keep it all separate? Anyway, oh, and what have I not done in a while? Pulled it off. So let's have a quick look. That fits really nicely in there. I'm very happy with that. I want to go around the outside with white, so that it looks like it's on a plate. Because this backing fabric isn't. This doesn't look platey enough. It doesn't look platey enough for me. Oh dear. So I'm just going to real quick and dirty. You guys can take your time doing it, because we are not going to get this completely finished tonight for two reasons. One, we've been working really hard. We've been staring at it solidly for 45 minutes already, or however long it was minus my technical glitch at the start. And your eyes are getting tired. You're going to think it's looking like a mess. It's not. Your eyes are just tired. You need to take a break and come back in a day or two, or in a wee while. I promise you that needle felting goes through a stage of, oh my god, it's horrendously messy, this is terrible, no one's ever going to believe what I've done, to suddenly, oh my god, it's amazing, this is the best work I've ever done. So after we've got all the major colours and shapes in tonight, I'm going to get you to go away and come back and finish it off in a day or two. I like to, when I'm designing these, except today because I was panic designing, to send a photo to my parents and get their critique on it of what needs to be changed. Not only do I appreciate their opinion because they're wonderful, hi mum and dad, but the act of taking a photo and looking at it in a screen gives you a little bit fresh eyes. And so normally by the time I've sent them the photo, I've already changed 3 things because I'm like, oh yeah, no, that should be different. So just now, every so often, I'm looking up and looking at this on my monitor, which gives me a fresh perspective because I've got my monitor showing me what you guys are seeing over to my right. And you guys are seeing a breakfast. Eee! This is getting quite exciting. Okay, so I'm going to pop it in the frame so that you can see how to put it in the frame. And then I'm going to go in and do little fiddly details until I get bored and run away. But that looks pretty breakfasty to me. So, to put it in the frame, so the frame will come all attached together like this. You're wanting to unscrew this little bit here until that bolt is in line with the end of that peg. If you do it any more, the little bolt will fall out, so I tend not to do that. Then you can take out the center and you've got your outside and your inside. So I'm going to take this off of the mat, move the mat away, because trust me, don't try and do it on the mat. It's not worth it. I'm going to put the solid center down, and then I'm going to feel where the edge is. I'm going to take the outside and just plonk that over. Oh, don't want to get that sausage off the edge, so it's a little bit further up. And squish it on. Now you can wiggle it about as you like. If you want it to be at a different angle, you can do that. Do I want the egg at the top? You've got all the options, but all you're going to do is pop that over there. Ooh, I can't even do it. Hold on. Pop that over there, and then I tend to grab it to the edge of the table, and then you're just going to tighten that up. Now, if we were finishing it today, which I'm not doing, to finish it, the way you do it is you tighten it all the way until it is as tight as you can possibly go, and make sure you're happy with your placement. And you'll see at the back you've got all this extra, and all you're going to do is take a pair of scissors and chop all this extra off nice and close to the edge. Do I have an example here? No, I don't. I am unprepared. But you can imagine. So you just chop off this extra bit. I'm going to show you it like that. And that's your breakfast. I am actually really hungry now. But we're not finished tonight, so I'm going to take this out. But it's really good practice, to, especially when you're getting nearer to the end, to take it off and see. Because when you pop it in the frame, especially at this stage where it's not very thoroughly felted, the gaps will start to appear because it's being pulled apart slightly. So you'll see, I can see that there's a gap there that I want to fill in, and a few other gaps there. So that's what I'm going to do. We also need to, this is still really fluffy and really flexible. We want it, how do I word this? There's no right and no wrong way for it to be finished. So so when people ask, how do I know when it's finished? You can't. When you're happy with it, it's done. But if it's going to be in a high use area, it's going to be touched quite a lot, you want to spend a good amount of time stabbing it all over until it feels quite firm to touch and doesn't have much give. If you're going to put it behind glass and no one's going to touch it, it's finished whenever you say it is. You don't have to thoroughly felt it, you can leave it as it is. So like the ones I have on display in the shop are really well felted. People are going to be touching them all the time. It's going to get a lot of use, but you don't have to. If you want it to be nice and fluffy, like I'm going to make this egg, I think, look more domed. The yolk, so the yolk's kind of standing out. I might even make the sausages a bit more 3D. But I would recommend at least sort of 10-15 minutes of just stabbing all over to secure everything in. And that also starts to pull everything together, and you're like, ooh, it's actually coming together. It's looking like a thing. Is there anything I want to work on? Remember, and pull it off. Do I want to, let's move this back into frame. I think I want to put a little bit more of the egg edging. So now we're at the fiddly stage. We've got all of the colours in. We've got all of our objects. That's too much. All of our objects in. And now we're just playing about. Don't worry about going wrong at this stage. You can always add more. You can always take stuff away. Play about. see, have a little bit of curiosity. Like, I wonder what will happen if I do this, or if I do that. And remember, your breakfast is your breakfast. It can look however you want it to. You can tell I'm quiet and concentrating now. I don't know what, I don't know how much, I'm kind of happy with this. If I make any major changes, you will see it on the picture on the cover. But I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. Do I want to, oh, here's a thing. What if I mix a little bit of Vixen with the poppy to make my bean sauce a little bit more orange? I think that might be what I'm wanting to do, because that'll look like there's beans underneath. Let's see if that works. Kind of. That's a better bean sauce colour. Brightened it up a little bit. And it gives the impression that there could be hidden beans. In fact, I might just go, ooh, yeah, right, let's hide these beans in the sauce and add more beans on top so it layers up the beans. Yes. More beans. Oh, thank you, Ruth. I'm terrible at this, aren't I? Ruth has politely reminded me that this is my full-time job. I have a small wool shop in Fort William on the high street. We sell British wool, specifically Scottish wool, all my needle felting kits, and locally made crafts as well. And I do loads of these video tutorials. We do a new one every second Friday, and I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to my channel, follow along, give a comment, even after the fact, pop a wee comment in. I love seeing all your comments. Tell me what is traditional breakfast fare where you are. What would you have put on this that I haven't put on it? If you've ever had a tatty scone before. Right. I'm super happy with that. I don't know what. I want to kind of leave it and come back to it in a couple of days. I don't want to do too much more today. Oh, right. I'm going to stab all over for 5 more minutes. Good enough to eat. Now I know I am cheating slightly because this is a 12 minus 1, 8, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 minus 1 holder. So this is going a little bit faster, but you can hold 3 needles at the same time. Or 4, no, I guess a little bit hard. You can hold a few needles at the same time to speed up this bit. This is just locking it all in place. And if you're like me or Ruth, yeah, I think the yolk, yeah, you're right, Ruth, yolk bigger. I said that earlier, didn't I? And then completely got distracted. If you're like me or Ruth, who have an embellishing machine, which is like a sewing machine, but it has needle felting needles in it. And it has, mine has 8, 12, many. I will run this through that because it's a shop sample. And it needs to be really tough. Even bigger, I think, maybe even bigger. And then adding more yellow. So I will, not tonight, but tomorrow when I come back to this, I'm going to run this through my needle felting. Where was I going with this point? My needle felting embellisher, my needle felting machine. To just get everything well felted, thoroughly felted. Ruth, do you have a website for all your stuff? Can I send people your way? I have questions. Ruth does amazing stuff. There we go. Bigger yolk. Nice. Oh, I want my white bit to not be in the center. I want it to be on the edge. There we go. That's better. Sweet. Okay. Anything else? What else am I missing? What have I forgotten? What can you see that I can't see? I reserve the right to be wrong and to change my mind about everything. I also reserve the right to be really hungry. What am I having for dinner? Oh, and because this is the end and only the hardcore fans will still be here, I still don't have a roof on my flat. I've just, oh my god, yep. The saga continues. It's going to be a while. Chaos is happening. I have water features in multiple rooms in my flat. And tomorrow I'm going to the Perth Yarn Festival, which I'm very excited to go to. Oh yeah, tomorrow the Perth Yarn Festival, and then Sunday I am doing a felting demonstration at Glencoe Folk Museum. We are doing, I don't know if you guys remember, we needle felted the Folk Museum. It's this lovely cute building down in Glencoe. And I'm going down there to do a live demo of felting the museum. I won't be in the museum because that's still under construction, but I will be near it. So you can see me felt, you'll see the museum from where I am felting the museum. But I think we have breakfast. Let's pop it in the thing and go get some food. So you see when I moved it, it popped up a little bit there. That's telling me I need to felt it a little bit more, but you can just smoosh it out at this, especially at this stage. It's very malleable and re-smooshable. So yeah, definitely come back in a day or two and do another 20 minutes, half an hour of just fiddling, putting in little bits of colour, stabbing all over, and then you'll be done. But for the final credit photo, I'm going to pop it in the frame so we can see. again, I'm just feeling where it all is. Opening this back up. Popping that in there. And then tighten up. Obviously, if you're finished, chop off the back. We are not completely finished. But we are. Did I put in the second one? Yeah. Let's get all the colour out of the way. Yeep. We have done the full Scottish breakfast. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been wonderful. Please like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. And thank you, my squishies. I will see you in 2 weeks for something new and exciting. All the way out. There we go. Thank you, my squishies.